Did you know that Arnold directed a Christmas movie?
Like
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Okay, I was like, that's what I assumed, but no. What is it?
Oh, fuck.
You dick.
It was like in the early 90s. It wasn't well received.
Shocker. He only has 2, so it's gonna be easy. Christmas in Connecticut.
Yeah, there we go.
TV movie.
Mm-hmm. I think it was he did it. He's like, this isn't for me. Never did it again.
Elizabeth, the star of a successful cooking show, is set to do a live show on Christmas where she'll cook a Christmas dinner. But what no one knows is she can't cook.
It's like a fucking Hallmark movie. Hallmark Christmas movie. He directed a Hallmark Christmas movie. Did he owe someone a favor? Did he lose a bet? What if he lost a bet?
And Chris Christopherson is one of the people starring in it.
I kind of want to just like make that lore, like just like write a script about Arnold losing a bet and has to direct this movie. Just like make up an entire history of this movie as a movie.
It's that Family Guy joke about making up rumors about celebrities and seeing if they catch on.
Was that a joke?
Yeah, Rob Schneider strangles homeless people in his bathtub, and then it cuts to. No, get yourself situated. There we go. And then it cuts to Rob Schneider like inviting someone in, and then the joke is it's actually true. They totally made it up off the top of their head, but it's actually true.
Oh, okay.
That's the joke, I guess. I don't know. But you just want to make up a rumor about Arnold?
No, not necessarily. I mean, like, I want to create an alternate timeline. Oh, I got some Mandela effect shit to fucking drop on you later. How the timelines are merging.
I've seen stuff about that.
Yeah, did you see the fucking 12-year-old kid talk about it?
No.
And make perfect sense?
No.
I was like, holy shit, this kid is this is real.
Well, I was on that though. I also was watching this video about how I think it was like probably a Rogan thing or something, but they were talking about how the Mandela effect is actually a government program.
That's another conspiracy. Yeah.
Because like this woman was like going crazy about the Fruit of the Loom logo.
Yeah.
And they even sent her an email of all of like the evolution of their logos, but then she found a shirt
that has the
cornucopia.
Yeah. 100. Yeah. No, dude.
I was like, I was watching it. And I was like, I don't like this. This is stressing me out.
We live in a simulation.
Mm-hmm. Take my money. Fry.
I know.
I don't know.
That's so out of context of that meme.
I don't know.
The Mandela effect. Take my money. Okay.
I mean, they could be using the Mandela effect to make you spend more money.
Consumerism, capitalism.
Yeah. So it's not. You can make it work.
I mean,
is it splitting hairs a little bit? Maybe.
Listen.
This is Tom.
This is Tommy Jacobs mixtape. Little women are in this movie. I don't know.
No, that's really funny because when I was doing notes, I was like,
pretty women down the street. Little women, how the one dies. Joe doesn't want to get married.
Beth is really sick. Oh, honey.
I know. I was thinking of the same thing. Do you want to put the book in the freezer?
Yeah.
Hey, guys. How's everybody doing out there?
Hello. Welcome back.
Welcome back to our random feminist block, apparently.
Yeah. Basically, yeah.
If you couldn't tell from jokes in the title of the episode, today's Little Women. From the 2019
yes,
specifically
the 2019,
which apparently there is a 2022 series. It's a series right now as well, being released episodically somewhere. I meant to look it up a little bit more, and I forgot to this morning because I really wanted to play Baldur's Gate.
Priorities. I mean, that's fair though. I mean, I think a book series being into a TV show is always a better idea.
I mean, this wasn't necessarily a book series.
No, I'm sorry. A book being turned into a TV series.
Oh, yeah.
Is to me always a better plan than trying to cram a bunch of stuff into.
Yeah, I feel like, I don't know, the movies did a pretty good job of, like, because I kind of read the plot synopsis of the book, and it's just like little minor changes here and there.
Like creative.
Yeah, creative choices.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I mean, this movie fits well. I mean, the story fits well in 2 hours, 2:15.
Well, let's start off with, did you like it?
I did, yeah.
It got me in the feels pretty hard a couple times.
I definitely like, Beth getting sick the second time was like, I was like, also, I've never actually really like watched. I never watched the 94 one.
Mm-hmm.
I've only just been familiar with the story of Little Women. Never read it or anything.
Same.
So like when like Beth got sick, I was like, oh fuck no, that's when she dies. Then I was like, oh she's getting better. But I was like, but wait, what? And then like how that was just played with, that kind of got me in the feels a little bit. Laurie's confession to Joe infuriated me, and I think there was another moment that kind of got me just slightly choked up.
The whole piano thing.
Yeah, that was a good moment. Yeah.
Just when he sits down and starts listening to her, I was just like, oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like also I hadn't really consumed much of the Little Women franchise. I don't know what you want to call it, but I knew like even when they're ice skating, I knew that she was going to fall through the ice.
Yeah,
and I didn't know how. Like even I was like, how'd you know that? And I was like, I don't know.
It's one of those things. It's been around. It's pop culture
enough.
for so long.
Yeah.
There's been jokes probably about that moment. There's jokes about Laurie, falling in love with Amy later on and whatnot.
It was just weird. I haven't had that happen in a really long time of sitting there and going, I know a lot of this, but it's all very new at the same time.
Maybe you watched the 94 one when you were a kid, some point with your mom or something, or your sisters.
Oh, that's fair.
You know?
Yeah, and I just don't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. I might, I didn't think about that. Like maybe I had at one point seen it.
Yeah.
And just don't recall seeing it.
It's very possible,
Yeah.
But yeah, so 2019, this one technically came out, it was released, or its premiere was at the Museum of Modern Art on December 7th. It was like a big event thing. And then it was nationwide on Christmas Day. I didn't realize that. 25th.
Mm-hmm. It was on the 25th.
Box office, pretty moderate and whatnot. We just did a 2019 movie, but did your number change?
Mm-hmm. I got 2 more. I got to 37.
I'm at 46. I got 3 more.
Mm-hmm. And it was like, oh yeah, I just watched that for the first time.
Actually, for me, it was like I didn't see it on the list last time.
Oh, you just missed it?
Yeah.
Just scrolling through?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, going through 200 movies and counting them.
Well, I have a counter on my phone.
Oh, that's what I do tallies.
Yeah.
I do every 10.
I do every time I see one, I click my phone. So then I don't even know where it's at until I'm done looking at the list. Oh,
that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
We should get one of those bouncer things.
Like an actual clicker counter?
An actual clicker counter.
I mean, you can get one. I mean, we don't need to have one together.
I thought it was a bonding moment. But yeah.
We live a separate lifetime. Yeah. One of the things, and we'll get into this, one of the things I actually kind of found interesting was reading a little bit about just the history of the book.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll go into that when we get into like writer, I guess, and we can let's just get into Oh, yeah. Oh, so, that's right. Synopsis, yeah.
If you're unaware of Little Women, 4 sisters navigate...
Tiny women. Little people.
4 sisters navigate their relationships in this coming-of-age tale set in the 1800s.
4 little people living... I don't know why I wanted to like wrap it around into like a 4 female little people like wrestlers story. I don't know.
Anyways, moving on. Our director...
Okay, so yeah, our director and also screenplay writer for this version, Greta Gerwig, who recently gave us Barbie, which is absolutely fantastic. Tommy's kind of like on the fence with it, I feel.
I have to watch it again.
Yeah. And Ladybird, which I now really want to watch.
Which we have talked about.
Yeah. Especially, I didn't realize that it was set in 2007 or 2002 or something. It's like, it's set in the past. And Saoirse Ronan plays like this like high school girl, teenage girl. So I'm saying I was looking at it, I'm like, oh, like this could be something that I might weirdly relate to because I was a high school student in that period of time.
Yeah, and I remember the trailer for this. It looked interesting.
Yeah. So I kind of got a little more interested with it. But yeah, Greta Gerwig wrote and directed this. She was working on the script for like a couple of years, like even like through Lady Bird, she was still working on the screenplay for this. Like I think it was like she was working on it through Lady Bird, and then once like the script was like submitted to the company and whatnot, and it was approved, then she brought on fucking Saoirse and Timothée to like as cast and whatnot, just kind of like immediately. Apparently Emma Stone was originally cast to play Meg, not Emma Watson. And Emma Stone had to back out because of
scheduling conflicts.
Yeah, for The Favorite.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. And then also in her, you kind of take it with a grain of salt, but I saw in her upcoming that Greta is working on a Netflix Chronicles of Narnia project.
Yeah, which I was like, I'm very
curious about that.
Take the Christianity out. You can't.
You literally cannot do that.
You cannot, yeah.
That's like a really big... Take Jesus out of the Bible.
I just kind of this weird thought. It's like, you have Chronicles of Narnia for your, like, religious allegory, and then you have the Golden Compass for your, like, atheist allegory.
Yeah. I know. I'm only not really reacting because I don't know Golden Compass.
Oh, fair. Well, maybe that's an episode for.
Isn't that
Nicole Kidman?
Yeah, Nicole Kidman, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it's a book series. Yeah, but the book series is very like anti-religion in a weird way.
It's such a weird era for like kids movies or like young.
Oh
adult.
yeah,
a lot of stuff came out that was very.
Yeah. Do you have any more thoughts or words for Greta Gerwig?
I thought the Narnia thing was interesting.
Definitely, yeah. So the book was written by Louisa May Alcott, who was during the time of like Ralph Waldo Emerson and Henry David Thoreau, like the Transcendentalist era of writers. And I didn't realize that she was part of like the Transcendentalist like troop type thing, you know. I was like, oh damn. When this book was released, it created a new genre of novels. Like nobody had like ever like created a narrative that Louisa May Alcott had done.
Yeah.
Like which I thought I was like, oh, that's really cool. Like which makes sense for this to have such like a important piece in American history, like literature history and whatnot. And because of that important piece of American literature history, why it's so sought after to like be like done again and again and again.
Yeah.
And then also on the idea of like this, like being the 2019 one versus the 1994, I was thinking kind of like Miracle on 34th Street, you know, like John Hughes wanted to make a Miracle on 34th that was for that generation and that time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel like this is Greta Gerwig making a Little Women for her generation, or my gen, like her and Greta Gerwig is like the same age as me almost.
Well, it's also in the fact of like, you know, when we'll get into the people in this, but even then it's like talking about the 94 one to the 2019. I don't know if this was on purpose, but she's also like with the 94 one, it was a very star-studded cast looking back on it. From everybody in that 94 one, you're like, man, there's a lot of really young people that become like very prominent later on.
I think they were also they were rising young stars at the time. That's the same thing happening here.
And she's following suit in that. Like, look, I was like, oh, these are really young people that are going to be around for a minute.
Like the people that like Susan Sarandon as Marmee was the seasoned veteran actress,
and then you have Laura Dern that is now you know who's been around forever. I think that they saw that formula working and they're like, oh, there's some pretty good young people that we can get.
And I like all of the casting except one. One of them sticks out like a sore thumb.
Timothée?
No, he was fantastic.
I don't know who.
Emma Stone or Emma Watson. She stuck out like a sore thumb to me. She acted just fine, but she just stuck out like a sore thumb. We'll get into it.
Mm-hmm.
So Lisa May Alcott also
loosely based on
Yeah, it's based about her life,
her
growing up in
sisters.
Connecticut and
Yeah.
her sisters. And a thing that I want to point out now with talking about her, because it ties in to what Greta Gerwig was doing, is Louisa May Alcott never married.
Oh,
She was single her entire life.
interesting.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
So let's go into who's starring in this film.
So we got 5 mains and then a couple honorable mentions. I
kind of think I have 6 mains.
1, 2, 3. Oh, yeah, I only wrote down 5.
Did you write down Laura or Timothée as the other main?
Timothée.
Okay. I still have Laura on there because I feel like she was kind of more supporting main, but
I just really I kind of just do in my head screen time how much we actually see you.
that's fair.
So if it's kind of short, I kind of just put you in the
Yeah.
supporting area, Who you want to start with?
I mean, obviously Joe, the main character.
Okay.
Say her name.
Nope. You knew what I was doing. You were being a dick about it anyways. I'm not going to do it.
So actually I watched a thing of her explaining how to pronounce it. It's like Saoirse.
Okay.
And or Saoirse if you want to. It's as closely to like for American like name like Sasha.
Okay.
But Saoirse.
Ronan?
Yes.
You got that right.
And she was in Lady Bird, also written by
Yeah.
Greta Gerwig, yeah. And a movie that I've been wanting to.
Hannah?
Hannah? No.
Oh.
See How They Run.
I didn't. That one didn't stand out to me.
It was released around the same time as The French Dispatch, and she plays she's trying to solve a murder or something. It's a really weird, quirky, fucking looking movie, and I wanted to watch it, and I started it and I was just too tired, and it fell on the back burner for me.
A few music videos too. I thought that was interesting.
No, I mean she pretty much she slowly started to I think the music videos kind of gave her some prominence, but I feel like Greta Gerwig is really the one that's put her on the map.
And she's in The Host.
Oh, that's right.
That other Stephanie Meyer.
She's the main character in that, isn't she?
I don't know. I've never watched it.
I did watch it while I was working coat check, and I completely forgot about it. I overlooked that on her list too.
Yeah, that popped out to me. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot she had this other sci-fi instead we're gonna fuck aliens thing.
She's a really good at rising actress right now. I'm really curious to see where her career is going to keep going.
Oh, yeah, she is the main in The Host.
Yeah. Who do you got next?
Emma Watson.
Emma Watson.
Yeah. Harry Potter.
Harry Potter. The Perks of Being a Wallflower.
She's only been. I thought it was funny. She's only been in 27 or something like that movies.
She hasn't been in a lot of movies,
and
she's very picky. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
And well, I mean, she's retired now too. But also,
yeah.
eight of those movies are from the same franchise.
Yeah.
So you're kind of like, oh, okay, so yeah, you're.
Maybe she's tired of it.
Yeah,
maybe
totally.
she did it as a kid, and it was that. Maybe she just kind of realized oh, this isn't what I want to do with my life.
Well, also you're fucking set.
Yeah,
you're set. You're good. You have the option to do a lot of the other stuff now because royalties on that. The money you made.
Yeah.
So
true.
But yeah. So Emma Watson. If you don't know who that is, I don't know what to tell you. She's Hermione.
Yeah.
And
I think that might be another thing. Is it's really hard to not see her as Hermione.
Well, but the thing is I feel like, and she might have been trying the whole time, but all those kids, those people now, they really had to really fight to get out of that.
Yeah.
That mold that they were encapsulated in, and that's one of the problems of being such a young star in such a long going franchise is that it's, Daniel Radcliffe and
Rupert Grint.
Indigo's going to be so pissed.
Yeah, it's Rupert.
I know. I'm just saying that the fact that we fumbled that. I forgot what
You fumbled that. I was looking at you
it's our show. We fumbled. Anyways, and that's her. That's her guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just, I know that they all really tried really hard to break out of that mold. Because even I remember Emma Watson was in something called the Circle that looked really interesting.
With Tom Hanks. Yeah.
Yeah, that looked really interesting.
Yeah, it's about social media the technology kind of like
churning on us.
Or no, a person itself using it against people.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I never seen it. But it was even the person being wallflower. She has some interesting stuff. But I think, maybe she just got tired of the grind. I never actually really looked into it. But yeah.
I mean, it's like, it could also be just like, if she's like, because like, did she retire after this movie? Because I thought she said she retired before this movie, but then she was in this movie. She has something from 2022. I think it's just very pick and choose on the role.
Yeah. But yeah, that's Emma. Who do you got next?
I got Florence Pugh.
I love her so much. I love her.
I
love her.
She is becoming a fucking powerhouse of an actress.
She's so pretty and she's funny and I just love her so much.
She's also fucking. I like how just no nonsense. She's like in interviews, just like very just straightforward.
She's cool.
And very funny and like relaxed about it as well.
Yeah.
She was in 3 movies in 2019.
Where did I put that? Midsummer.
That's one.
Black Widow.
Well, she's Yelena in the Marvel.
And Don't Worry, Darling, or
Don't Worry, Darling was like 2020 or 2022.
Oh, Oppenheimer.
Nope, that was last year, 2023.
What are you talking about then?
She was in this, Little Women, in Midsummer, and a wrestling movie called Fighting with My Family.
That looks funny. I watched the trailer for that.
Yeah,
I hadn't heard about that
that's
one.
That's based on a real performer, Saoirse, who became Paige in the WWE.
Yeah, but that's cool. I watched the trailer for that and it looks funny.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah.
But yeah, she plays Amy, and
which apparently Amy is the youngest of the sisters.
Yeah, that's why she has that spoiled.
Yeah, I know,
mentality.
but I was like, I thought Beth was the youngest because of like, I don't know. That's where it was like the casting of this started to get kind of weird.
I will say
because of the time shift and whatnot.
But okay, I'm so sorry. That was so confusing. They did not make that clear enough for me when we were jumping around in time.
It took me about a third of the movie until I could figure out. I could actually visually see the difference, and it was because of the lighting.
Yeah, I didn't catch that. My kind of indication is that in the present, the sisters weren't together. In the past, all 4 of them were together pretty much every shot.
More or less, yeah.
But then also, I just with the casting, that all these people were, I think, really great in this. But also the fact that they didn't appear to be sisters to me.
Yes.
They were all so dramatically different looking that I was like, it's kind of hard to actually imagine you're related to each other.
And I think like that's where it was like Emma Watson especially stuck out like a sore thumb. Like I could see a little.
I don't get that because I'm like they all to me because they all looked so different. I was like I don't get why Emma Watson to you, and that's that's what you saw, but that doesn't click with me for some reason. Like her being the one that.
I think it was like Florence, Saoirse, and Eliza.
Oh yeah, sorry. Let's talk about her first.
Eliza Scanlen, who I've only seen, I think, in The Devil All the Time.
Old.
Which
I remember.
I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah.
And then she's probably a lot of people would recognize her more from Sharp Objects, that TV show.
Yeah.
But like all of them kind of have those like very high, like higher cheekbones than Emma Watson does. Emma Watson has kind of like more of a fair face. Like there's more prominent facial features out of those 3 girls, and they're all like either like closer to light hair, and Emma Watson is just fucking brunette.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, I guess I don't know. I think I'd have to like really look at them.
Also,
again.
Emma Watson just like looked younger than Saoirse, and she's supposed to be the older sister.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I did think that was very. I was like, yeah, you don't really. None of you really look like related to me, but whatever. Their performances are great, so who cares?
Yeah. And then so we got and then Laurie or Teddy
Timothée Chalamet, who is also huge right now.
Yeah, so. He was also in Lady Bird.
Yeah. Dune.
And in Dune.
The King. I forgot about that movie. I want to watch that movie so bad.
Which one's that one?
It's just like, the period piece, medieval political power drama.
Oh, okay.
And it just looks like, I'll show you the trailer because some of the performances in it just look really like one of the younger kings is just this really unnerved young man that has all this, it's like, you're really young. You got a lot of power. You probably shouldn't have this much power.
Fair.
kind of thing. It looks really cool though.
Well, do you want to just like do the rest as like quick honorable mention, not worry about bringing up anything else that they've done?
I mean, just I usually do the one that.
Well, because I mean, it's kind of hard to not. Okay, so Laura Dern plays Mom Marmee, but like Meryl Streep is in this. We can't not bring up Meryl Streep.
No. I meant one title you might recognize her from.
Laura Dern, Jurassic Park.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Meryl Streep being Meryl Streep.
Yeah, Meryl fucking Streep.
Their father is played by Bob Odenkirk.
Better Call Saul, right?
Mm-hmm. Chris Cooper plays Mr. Lawrence. He's the military dad in American Beauty.
Right, that's what he was in. I was trying to remember.
And
that's all I had down.
Tracy Letts, who plays plays Amy's teacher. He's a famous playwright.
Oh, okay.
And like he's also been in Lady Bird. Like he's good friends.
He's around. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he probably like is like helps Greta Gerwig with the writing and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's like gives him whatever. Maybe not. But I mean, why would you not? If I was friends with Tracy Letts and I was a writer, I would have him read everything. Yeah.
I think that's pretty much.
Yeah, that's pretty much everyone. I mean, it's again like kind of like the 1994. It's got like it's a big cast of characters for the story.
But we only focus really a lot on the sisters and
mainly
Lori.
Joe. I feel like it's more of Joe and Amy's story.
It's what it becomes.
If not just like, I mean, Joe is the main protagonist.
Well, yeah, she's the writer.
Yeah.
She is
Louisa.
It's from her lens,
Yeah.
a lot of the time.
But each girl or woman has their own arc of like becoming into whatever like womanhood they can. I guess Beth's is more of just like acceptance of mortality. Yeah, well, let's get into reviews and then we can kind of like discuss the film and more.
Right, dude. Scores. Excuse me. Sorry.
So on IMDb, it's got a 7.8. And then I was kind of surprised the difference between this and then the Rotten Tomatoes, because on Rotten Tomatoes, the tomato meter rating is 95 and the audience score was 92.
95 to 92.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah, and 78 for IMDb. So I was like, huh.
Oh, well, on Metacritic, this has a 91, which comes to universal acclaim. 53 positive reviews, which is a whopping 93% of them, and then 4 mixed. Yeah. So Alfonso Dureld, I think is how you pronounce his last name. Gave it 100 out of 100, writing for The Wrap. In an era in which sentimentality is a seasoning that filmmakers either shun entirely or employ with too heavy a hand, Gerwig crafts a work about love and family and devotion and empathy that is moving without being manipulative. This is a Little Women for the ages.
Yeah, yeah.
And I picked that one because I agreed with it without it being manipulative. It felt very genuinely like I really, the scene that pops up is what I already mentioned, is that piano scene. It's just such a sweet, warm moment that is just really just a great shot and just very subtle.
Well, and then even just like narrative wise, like Louisa May Alcott like wrote a very just like easy to digest, beautiful story that, and like Greta Gerwig just lifted it up. Just like, oh, well, let's bring it over here like this type thing,
Yeah. And it was just also, it was shot really, I can't remember who. Yorick Lasaux is a French cinematographer, and I just think that they did a really great job. I just thought it looked really nice. Then our mix was Tara Brady at the Irish Times, who gave it a 60 out of 100. It's a ravishing spectacle. The trouble is that the unremitting gorgeousness robs the material of all of its grit, of its satire, of the sense of precariousness that one experiences of the character's behalf, of the fear of hunger and the dread, and that chill, that any chill or fever might be a death sentence. Which I kind of... So I watched this with my partner, who's a huge fan of the 94 one. and was kind of getting notes about like kind of the differences between the two.
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of agreed on this like sentiment is like that they're supposed to be this like really poor family, but it didn't
feel that way.
It didn't feel that way. It felt like they were in the same class of their neighbors, but they were at the very, very bottom, just barely scraping into that.
Yeah.
With this giant house. And even then, you know, like Laura Dern, the mom, comes in and is like, oh, their neighbors down the street, they're starving. And then you're kind of like, yeah, totally. And then it's kind of a huge spread they're having for Christmas dinner or whatever, morning. And then that gets taken away. And then the neighbor then presents them with a feast for their good deed. And it's a little bit bigger than what they already, you know what I mean? It
looked a massive bigger to me.
It didn't feel like
yes,
this poverty stricken family a lot of the times.
Yeah.
I did kind of agree with that. I was like, yeah, it doesn't really feel like feels like you're okay. Like you're doing okay. Like for 1863 or whatever it was.
Post Civil War. Or is it during Civil War. Yeah.
It's like in the heat of it. I think the Civil War started in 1861, I think, if I remember that correctly.
I don't really know my Civil War history. I just know that the right people won.
Yeah. 1861.
Did you know that people... Oh God, what is it? People in the South sometimes still call it the Northern aggression.
I'm thinking of a certain someone.
Oh.
Stupid little flag.
Bobby Lee.
That was good. Only one other person will know what we're talking about. Yeah. No wonder if he'll ever figure it out. But yeah. So, and then the negative's a 50 out of 100. I'm just seeing if it's. It's kind of actually it kind of says the same thing. 50 out of 100. Mick LaSalle at the San Francisco Chronicle. So the most noticeable thing about the first minutes of Greta Gerwig's new screen adaptation of the classic. Is that the Little Women seem just a little bit snooty here, more like privileged actresses than privileged actresses from 2019 than like Northern Family Living in Poverty, blah blah. Yeah, so it's basically like you didn't like it's great, but you didn't nail kind of this point of the setting that we're supposed to be in.
Maybe that wasn't Greta's focus.
Well, no, but I think it's a fair observation.
I mean, 100%, yeah.
It's like, yeah, maybe you didn't really want it to be like that, but it's like, well, that's kind of a big point of the story originally.
Well,
so.
I mean, is it such a big point of the story that if you just don't focus on it, does it change the actual?
No, that's a fair point.
Yeah, does it change? Because like what we're doing is watching these young.
It's a coming of age.
Yeah, it's coming of age.
Yeah.
So, like.
I think it's just easy, and we've done it too. And I remember you specifically reeling me in, but it's like that '94 one is such a beloved film by people.
Yeah,
that it's really hard for people to turn off that part of their brain of the comparison thing.
Yeah,
and we've done it, and I know I for sure have been guilty of it. And there's been time where we're doing a movie that's a remake, and then suddenly we're talking about both the movies, and it's like stop it. We're not talking about that one. We're talking about this one.
Yeah.
And I think that might be a lot of what the criticism is.
Oh, 100%. I mean, especially like the whole like the way that Greta decides to tell it in a non-linear fashion.
Yeah.
You know, I can see that.
I really didn't catch up on the lighting thing.
Okay, so it's a light filter type thing when it's in the present, I guess, or the future.
Let's call it the present just for...
It's a lot more of a softer blue tone, a color grade.
Okay, so I did catch that a couple times, but I didn't find it consistent.
The 7 years past is a much more brighter orange.
Yeah, like
color,
sunny afternoon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I did catch it. I guess I don't know. It wasn't super obvious to me. My way of telling was the sisters being together. Yeah, because they were always pretty much together unless it was the present. There
was a couple of times until I kind of started to really catch up on that.
Yeah,
I had to rewind and be like, wait, what? because it only has like it's like one time is a time jump share where it says 7 years ago.
Yeah.
And you get the different color scheme and everything. And like, and they're all jovial and like have energy. And Amy's not a bitch or whatever. No, Amy's really pleasant actually. But yeah, it was like, just kind of like, okay, now I kind of see it. And so like one of the things I was thinking about is like, as I was watching this is, and after I finished it, I was just kind of like, okay, yeah, this was fine. But like, what did this have to do? Like what's something new that they brought out of this text, out of this story that needed to be resaid today or needed to be looked upon in another way and whatnot? And I was very kind of like, well, you just kind of like told it in a different timeline sort of way, in a non-linear way. Is that the creativity that everybody was really impressed with Greta Gerwig on? And I was kind of like, okay, sure, whatever. Performance is great. You know, all the girls were wonderful, like performed very, like Saoirse is like captivating to watch, as is Florence Pugh, and Timothée Chalamet is like just physical, like vulnerability and just like his like goofiness, but then like he was kind of just like interesting to watch too, in a good way. Mm-hmm. The way that he like interpreted Laurie, you know.
Yeah, I don't know. I gotta watch more of him, but he's always just Timothée Chalamet to me. You know, like I don't ever.
I kind of see what you mean with that, though. Yeah.
He's like, you know, Dwayne Johnson. It's like, you know what you're getting. You know.
Yeah.
I need to see him like. I think what I would be really interested in is like seeing him as like a really twisted villain and seeing him do that and see what he would, like a young Hannibal Lecter.
Some like manic type of character.
Yeah, like really something really unhinged, because I'd just be curious.
That'll happen later in his career. He's still young.
Oh yeah, it's gonna. No, I mean, he also has a great body and great face for it. Yeah. That really angular. I'm like, there's a lot of like comic book villains that you could be that could be really fun for you to like.
Edward Nigma. Yeah, I mean, then we already did that anyway, I guess.
But like a Joker, like that kind of manicness, I think it would be interesting.
I mean, I think like in Dune, he's very much more reserved and not very much like the Timothée Chalamet that we've seen in a lot of other stuff.
But that's another one I got to watch it again, because that's a very thick thing to digest.
Yeah.
So I'd really just have to watch it again.
But yeah, so what I was saying though is that I was kind of like unsure of like what Greta Gerwig really like did to like make this so new, fresh. And then it wasn't until I read that, well, and I was sitting there wondering like why, like the ending of it, of like the publisher was like, and she's not married? Mm-hmm. Well, she has to get married. And,
obviously.
And Joe was like, fine, you know, I'll do whatever, you know, blah, 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 and like changes the ending of the story and whatnot. And then I realized that Louisa May Alcott never married. Mm-hmm. And if this is like an autobiography, semi-autobiographical of Louisa May Alcott, is Greta Gerwig, who also did a bunch of research reading and letters that Louisa May Alcott was writing with other like writers and just people of the time, learning about her as a person, to infuse that into this script of Little Women. That could have been a very real conversation she had with a publisher. That the original book, mm-hmm. Joe does not get married. Mm-hmm. And just to appease...
Well, to get it published.
And also, this is where the feminist kind of mark comes in. A woman having to appease the man, the male, not gaze, but entertainmentship, you know? Mm. You know, he doesn't want to... He only wanted to produce it or to publish it after, like, his granddaughters, like, read it. They're like, we want more of the book. And he's like, oh, there is an audience for this.
Well, that was what I was going to say, actually, to your quandary.
Yeah, but he's still going to force his male-centric mind on top of it.
Well, that, but he's also... He's a businessman.
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, no, I got to make money. Like,
well, no, and that's why like so many people complain about like choices that are done in like in Hollywood and whatnot, is that they're business people looking at numbers and trends and like, well, the trend is this, so we do that.
Well, but the other thing I was going to bring up about your quandary of like what this brought, I think also at the end of the day, there will always be a market for a coming of age tale, because there are constantly people coming of age, but then also through the lens of young women coming of age, because there's plenty of examples of young men movies coming of age. You know,
Yeah. Oh, no, 100%. And
like even Percy Jackson, you could say arguably is a fantasy, but it's about him coming of age.
Any fucking young boy hero story, Harry Potter is a coming of age,
and it's just
for a young man.
For us, we have a lot. We have
so
ones.
many, and
so I think that's
little. And but also Greta Gerwig, also kind of putting this little thing of like the ending of the movie is the ending of the book that Joe wrote. It's the ending of the story. Cool. The ending of actual Joe's story, I don't think she gets married.
Mm-hmm. Well, okay, so correct me if I'm hearing right. Were you also feeling that it suddenly turned into, from this biographical about their lives, it suddenly did this kind of subtle, now we're going into a depiction of the book. That's what you're talking about, right? Yeah, I caught that too, and I was like, that's cool.
So, and that's interesting, is like I had all this thought, and then I read in the writing part of Wikipedia, there is, the ending differs from that in the novel by depicting the pleasures of a romance inside a story about Alcott realizing her artistic ambitions, which Gerwig believed honors Alcott's true vision, given that Alcott had to satisfy the era's narrative expectations. Mm-hmm. So her writing, her having that moment of Joe, I want 10%. No, I want 6.6. Sure, I will agree to you, but I'm going to put my foot down. I'm going to own my copyright. Mm-hmm. That is Joe's here, like, arc, you know, and that's the
appeasing, but also standing up to herself in a sense of like, fine, a compromise, fine, but I own this. Yeah, this is mine. This is not yours. I will hold my
integrity. I'll write the story that you want to appease the masses with, but my integrity is I own this. Yeah. So, and then
like if you're gonna make me change this, it's still gonna be mine.
Yes.
Like you're not gonna be able to. Yeah.
And that's
an interesting point. And
and then with that knowledge, I'm like, oh, that's what Greta Gerwig's point was.
Final.
And then I was like, and then I actually started to appreciate the movie more. Mm-hmm. Which, which is kind of interesting, like needing to have that knowledge to appreciate the movie is interesting. Because otherwise I was just kind of like, you just retold a little bit. And also, but then again, like you're saying, like this is a coming of age story for young girls. Mm-hmm. Like Laurie, I didn't really connect with.
I mean, I think that's like
and also actually Louisa in a old writing thing, Louisa May Alcott herself said that Laurie was one of the most boring characters in the book and is a very undeveloped character.
Well, yeah, because he's the love-stricken boy. He's the friend-zoned guy.
They also kind of describe Joe as like kind of like the first like American Girl idea, like the girl next door. Uh-huh. She's tomboyish.
Yeah, she's tomboy. She's a rioter. She's she's artistic. Yeah. But it's like, Laurie is just this kind of figurehead for this kind of weird placement just for young love.
Yeah.
But it's not a young romance. It's a coming of age. Mm-hmm. And she is friends with Laurie, and then Teddy wants more, and then he settles for the sister.
He doesn't. I mean, yeah, he kind of does. But like because I truly do think he loved Joe. He was truly in love with Joe.
Yeah.
And she
that is a really heartbreaking moment.
Took his heart and put it in a blender.
But then she realized, but then he just drops the bomb that I married your sister. I was just sitting there like,
I mean, it's better for him to like be like, hey, I'm going to tell you like privately, you and I. So
it's still like,
yeah.
This is so like we had actually that caused a kind of like a fun debate, but it caused a fun debate between us.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because she was talking just about how weird it was, and I'm like, well, it's not really that weird. And she's like, yeah, it is. They're sisters. I'm like, okay, number one, he was in love with Joe. It's not like they had actually a romantic. Yeah. They weren't in love and then broke up and then he went with the sister. He was pining after her, was never reciprocated, so he got over it. But then, but she's like, yeah, but the sister. And I was like, yeah, but the thing is, they're sisters. So they're going to have some kind of similarities personality-wise.
Yeah.
So it's not crazy for him to then find attraction to this person that is...
Well, and then as he gets to know who Amy became as an adult...
living on her own.
And she's kind of pretty steadfast. She still has like a lot of those same like, headstrong beliefs that Joe has.
That's what I'm saying. They're similar.
But there's
people.
there's a different articulation with it. And he's realizing like, oh, maybe I was... And also, he's 17 at the beginning of the book. He's not going to fall in love with a 12-year-old.
Yeah, there you go. That's another good point, too. It's like, and then she became a woman. Like, they both are now older. They're 7. This is 7 years later. This is someone that also they've known each other for this long.
Yeah.
I was like, it's really not that crazy of a jump. And she's like, yeah, I guess so. I was like, it's a little awkward.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's that weird. There's weirder things that could have happened.
100%.
But I'm also like, this is 1860s. Like,
yeah.
I don't know what to tell you. And a lot of shit just went down in this country. So,
Well, it was going down.
It was going down. So, I don't know. But, yeah. I think what I really, really appreciate about this movie is that I really did like a lot of the subtlety, like, in it. Like, even when the dad shows up, it's a loving embrace. They all hug and everything, but there is this level of awkwardness that we picked up on. And I was like, well, yeah, they don't know each other. It's like, yes, this is my father. These are my daughters. And they have been writing letters, but they don't really know
It's like
in each other anymore.
Joe and Meg might know him the most,
but even then, it's not a lot. He's been gone for a really long time, and in a coming of age development state where you were going from children to adults.
Meg probably would have been like 10 when he left.
Yeah, so it's like for Amy and Beth, they were so.
Oh, Beth was was 2.
Yeah, so it's like and I just thought that was great. It was a great shot because there is this love of my dad, like family reunited, sweet, awesome, but there's just this little kind of like reprehensive kind of vibe, and it's like, oh, that's cool because
especially his nervousness.
Yeah, because now he's suddenly walking in to this room full of women. Yeah, that he doesn't really
women.
Yeah, like I just thought that was like, and there's a lot, and that's the one that I'm thinking of right now. But there's a lot of moments of these really cool subtleties of just it really made these people feel real.
Well, even I've got to put like Timothée when he's drunk at the party.
Oh, and he's being a dick to Amy, yeah.
And she's like calling out on the ring, and he's like, Joe gave me this ring.
Yeah.
And then he's like, go and marry the fucking Baron. Sorry.
Well, then, in that whole scene where you find out that Amy has been pining for him this whole time.
Oh, yeah, when he's like, don't marry the Baron.
Yeah.
And she's like, I've been second to Joe my entire fucking life. Don't you fucking do this to me.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's also Florence Pugh fucking commanding the scene.
Well, it's like the costumes are great. Like,
it won Academy Award for Best Costume.
Oh, did it?
Yeah,
good.
It was nominated best film of the year. Laura Dern, 2 Academy Award nominations. Saoirse was nominated, and I want to say Florence were nominated for supporting and best.
I just thought of another one. The subtlety thing. Like that whole conversation with Meryl Streep and Amy that basically turns her... How do I word this? It kind of is the forcing power of her going to work on her. She is going to be an artist, is that conversation she has with Meryl Streep about kind of like, take care of yourself. You need to like have your like own like power in this like dynamic kind of. It was like this kind of interesting conversation.
Are you talking about the one with Saoirse or the one with Joe or the one with Amy?
With Amy.
Okay.
When
Amy was painting?
She's painting, and then she calls her in and they have this whole interaction. It was just this really, and it was like, ooh, Meryl Streep, you're setting off Aunt Marjorie or whatever. Aunt March. Like, ooh, you're setting off a chain of events right now.
Especially when Amy comes running up, it's like, Aunt March is going to Europe, and then Joe immediately is like, oh, and I'm going to be her companion, and Amy's like, no, I am.
Yeah, I was just.
She asked me to go with her,
and that was just a great conversation between them two, and you're just because you're sitting.
Well, even it was like Amy just like after is like that is all, and Amy's like, okay, Okay.
And I don't know. It's just kind of like, she's in her head as she's walking away. She's like, that woman's a badass. Like.
All right. A really quick thing to point out. We're doing so much talking about the story of Joe and of Amy. We haven't really talked about Beth, and we haven't even brought up Meg. Really. Which goes to show kind of like also the focus on like where the focus of this story really sits for this all. Because Meg's whole thing is like her wanting to be a good wife for John, which is a fair thing. Like,
well, she even makes a point about that. She's like, I want to live my life the same way you do. I want to live it the way I want to, and this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
Because there's this kind of judgment of like her following into the mold of the societal thing.
Yeah.
And she's like, I want to.
That's what I want. That's what I
want.
like.
I want a family. I want to be married. Like,
I don't care if I'm poor. I want him. This is happiness for me.
I want him and my family. That's
but like her whole like buying the silk. And when she's like, I'm tired of being poor. And then he's like, I'm sorry that you married a man that can't give you the things that you want. And that actually kind of, I was like, oh, fuck.
It was, because even then she like,
because she's not really meaning that.
She's not meaning it, but he's sensitive about it.
Yeah.
And you could tell that even the second she says it, she's like, oh, shit. Like, and it was a great moment, too, because you can see that she's really upset that she hurt his feelings. And 100% wasn't her intention.
Yeah.
And, like, it's just, again, another subtle, like, you're like, oh, this is very, like, powerful. Yeah. And, like, and then with Beth and her whole, like, trying to, being the shy, quiet one, and then her developing this relationship with Laurie's uncle, grandfather, sorry, his grandfather. I just was like, this is so sweet. And then he just because he lost his daughter, and this is just this.
And then
when she dies, it's like, and he's just outside, and he's like, I don't know if I'm ready to go
face this, pretty much,
face my daughter dying again, and you're like, oh.
No, and then Joe is just so wonderful, like, well, you have a friend in there.
Yeah, holds his hand, and it was like, I just really loved that. It's funny that you say that because they're not the main point, but that was my favorite like story arc was with him and her kind of helping each other, like him grieve the passing of his daughter, her coming out of her shell a little bit with music, and then she dies. You're like, well, fuck.
Well, and like they always say that Beth was the best of them. She's the one that continued going to the Hummels to like help and take care of them.
And that's why she got sick.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like funny that you pointed that out. It's like, we talked a lot about the other two sisters and completely forgot about the other two. And my favorite story arc was one of the ones we didn't really talk about.
Because the story, I feel, is designed about it's about love and the devotion. I mean, which a little bit of like Emma or Meg's like story arc is that, but it's like it happens so abruptly. I want to say it's just like it's like a small scene here, small scene there, and then finally outside, which is like, no, I sold the silk because blah blah blah, and that her arc is completed because
Well, that's actually, and going back to her too. What's Emma Watson's sister? What's her name?
Meg.
That's Meg. I'm sorry, I'm getting rapid fire confusing them. Well, with like Meg too, when she goes to that debutante ball, and they like dress her up in this nice dress, and she's just like living this like she's playing dress up a little bit. She's just having a nice time.
What are they calling her? Daisy? No,
Daisy. I think Daisy. So I don't remember, but
and then Laurie's there,
and he just starts being this fucking asshole, and you're like, can you leave her alone?
Let her have her moment.
She just wants to have fun. And he's like, this whole like, this isn't you. Like you're.
What would Joe say?
You're pretty. And again, it's like she wants to live a little bit of the conformity. She wants to. And it's like, just leave Meg. Damn it, Meg.
I know. Every time we say Meg, I've been thinking it too. But like, that's also kind of like an important part of like when he sits down and apologizes to her, and he's like, you yourself are beautiful. You don't need this dress.
No, yeah, but it's like, but also that's fine. He apologized for being an asshole, but at the end of the day, it's none of your goddamn business. It's what she wanted to do.
Yeah.
She was fine being called Daisy. She was living this little fantasy for a minute out of her poverty, you know, in the nice dress, drinking champagne.
But that's also weirdly foreshadowing to what she's going to be forced, like having to pick the silk, is that she secretly wants this life, but then she is going to settle for not that life, you know?
Yeah.
And I do got to give Greta Gerwig, like one thing I was noticing was the parallels of their lives from their young life to their adult life, kind of like, she found a good way to like to delineate it and have it parallel with each other.
Yeah.
In like moments, like she found that thing, which like was pretty good. It was impressive.
Yeah.
Damn it, Meg.
I just watched an entire compilation of just all the times they did her dirty.
God damn.
And it's like, some of them are really bad. There's like one where it's like...
Is this how we deflect from like having emotions right now? Like feeling stuff for Little Women is we're just going to talk about Family Guy?
And like, they teleport, Brian and Stewie teleport to a world all animated by Disney.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
And they start doing a singing thing and it comes out to the front yard and Chris and Meg are swinging. And they all look normal, but they just give Meg Ursula's bottom.
That's right.
It's just tentacles. Like, what the fuck? Like, what? It's like, anyways, sorry, that was a tangent. What are we at?
Oh, we're at 55.
Okay.
Yeah. What do you feel?
I don't know. I'm kind of going back and forth a little bit.
I'm like between like a 3.5 and a 4.
That's where I'm at too. So what do we do?
I'll give it a 4.
You want to give it a 4?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we gave The Favorite a 4.
4.5.
We gave that a... Are you sure? Oh, you're right. Yeah, okay. So, yeah. Then, yeah, this is definitely a 4 then. Mm-hmm. Because I was like, this is a little better than The Favorite. I mean, no. I meant, no. I'm sorry.
Oh, what?
No. So, I was like, yeah, okay. But I was like, well, if we gave The Favorite a 4, then we can't give... Okay, yeah, so... All right, yeah, 4. 4 out of 5. Yeah, this was very enjoyable. I was very pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
And obviously she immediately want to watch the 94 one, and I was like, I can't before I record. I can't have those living in the same space so close together.
So she's like, I want to watch the one that I like.
Yeah, basically. And I was like, can we like wait just a few days? Can we just at least until after we're done with this? Join us next week for Gravity. Is that what we're doing next?
Yeah.
What?
I just thought of John Mayer.
Gravity. It's a good song.
Anthony used to make fun of that song constantly.
Come at me, bro.
I mean, we just made fun of John Mayer.
Oh yeah, he's easy to make fun of. Yeah. I'm still like, I like that song. But yeah, so we're gonna do Gravity next week. We actually pretty much have the whole lineup for a while.
Yeah.
Out. But yeah, follow us on Instagram, like, subscribe. We have a link tree on there where you can find all of the places you can listen to make it convenient. Yeah, follow us on Instagram to see posts of what's coming up. And I guess that's it. Yeah, that's everything. This is Tommy.
I'm Jacob.
This is
Tommy and Jacob's mixtape.
trying to think of something.
Oh, I thought I threw you off.
You did.
All right, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Little Women.